Detective Ryan Carter had been with the city police for over 15 years. He'd seen brutal cases, robberies, disappearances, unsolved murders. But nothing prepared him for what he would face in the summer of 2014. That summer, children began disappearing from the quiet town of Mill Creek, a peaceful place where everyone knew each other. The first boy, 7-year-old Tommy Baker, vanished while riding his bike near the woods. His bike was later found leaning against a tree, as if someone had carefully placed it there. There were no witnesses, no signs of struggle, and no leads. The second child, 9-year-old Lily Hughes, went missing 2 weeks later while playing hide-and-seek with her friends at a local park. Her friends said she simply disappeared behind a large oak tree and never came back. The town was drowning in fear. Parents stopped letting their children out. Schools installed extra security. Yet the kidnappers struck again. This time, it was 6-year-old Mia Turner, who vanished from her own backyard in the middle of the afternoon. Her mother had only turned away for a minute. Detective Carter was placed in charge of the case. Each time a child vanished, he would find one thing at the scene, a small black notebook with nothing written inside except a single line, "Come find me." The notebooks felt like a sick game, like someone was daring him to follow. The case consumed him. He slept at the station. He reviewed every camera, every map, every phone call. But there were no patterns, no suspects, no motive. Then, something changed. A fourth notebook was found. But this time, it was left on Carter's own car windshield. The cover was damp from the rain. Inside, a message was scrawled in shaky handwriting. "You're getting close. Want to see what I've done?" Follow the trail. It wasn't a threat anymore. It was personal. Carter followed the few clues the notebook provided. They led him to the abandoned Blackwood Asylum, a place long forgotten. Hidden deep in the forest, the building had been closed for over 30 years, rotting away behind thick vines and broken fences. It was the kind of place that children dared each other to go near, but never actually did. The doors creaked open when Carter pushed them. Inside, the air was thick with mold, dust, and a faint, metallic smell. He stepped carefully, his flashlight slicing through the darkness. Strange drawings lined the walls. Stick figures, scribbled faces, and crude pictures of children. As he moved deeper into the asylum, he began finding the children's missing belongings. A pink shoe, a torn backpack, a stuffed animal. They were carefully placed on shelves, like twisted trophies. He called for backup, but his radio began to fail. Static crackled over the line, and then nothing. The silence in the asylum was deafening, interrupted only by the sound of Carter's heartbeat pounding in his ears. He kept moving, following the trail of objects that seemed to guide him somewhere. In one room, he found another black notebook. This one was fresh, placed on an old desk. Written inside were the words, "I've been waiting for you." Suddenly, Carter heard footsteps. Light, quick, and just ahead. He chased the sound through the winding halls, through crumbling doorways, down to the basement. The air grew colder, the walls damp. The basement was a labyrinth of locked doors and old storage rooms. In the far corner, behind a metal grate, he found a wooden door slightly ajar. Pushing it open, he found a room lit by a single swinging bulb. In the center was a man, middle-aged, wearing old janitor clothes, sitting calmly in a wooden chair, as if he had been expecting Carter. On the walls around him were pictures of the missing children, crudely taped up, and behind him were 3 cages, small, locked, and empty. The man introduced himself as Richard Hale, the former janitor of Blackwood Asylum. He confessed to everything with a smile. He had been taking the children, playing what he called his collection game, leaving notebooks to lead Carter like a trail of breadcrumbs. He described the terror he inflicted on the children in horrific detail, speaking as if he were proud. Carter, barely able to contain his rage, demanded to know where the children were. Richard laughed, saying the children were free now, but he wouldn't explain what that meant. He claimed that Carter had taken too long, that the game was over. Enraged, Carter arrested him on the spot. Backup arrived minutes later, finally able to reach him once he stepped outside the asylum. During the investigation, they found a hidden chamber behind the basement wall. It was filled with shallow graves. The missing children's bodies were discovered, each carefully placed as if someone had wanted to preserve them. Among them was a 4th small grave, freshly dug, but still empty, labeled with Carter's name. It became horrifyingly clear that Richard's final target had been Carter himself. The trial shocked the town. Richard Hale was sentenced to life in prison, but he never expressed regret. During every hearing, he would only smile at Carter from across the room. Even after the case closed, Carter struggled to sleep. He would find black notebooks on his doorstep, in his mailbox, in his car, always blank, always waiting. The police believed it was just copycats or cruel pranks, but Carter wasn't so sure. Sometimes, late at night, he would see shadows moving in the corner of his eye. He would hear soft footsteps following him when the streets were empty. And every now and then, he would hear the distant sound of children laughing, echoing through the silence. The case was over. The murderer was caught. But Carter knew that some nightmares don't end when you wake up. Some monsters leave their mark forever. And maybe, just maybe, the game was never really over.